Somewhere on this earth right now, someone is sitting alone. Not lonely exactly, not sad exactly. Something older than both of those words. They are missing something they cannot name. Longing for something they cannot point to. Grieving something that may never have existed, or existed so long ago it has dissolved into a feeling without a shape. You have felt this too. On certain evenings, in certain songs. In the particular quality of light at the end of a day that had no reason to make you feel anything at all. The English language has no word for this, but the Portuguese do. And the story of how this word came to be known to the world begins not with a philosopher, not with a poet, but with a woman locked inside a room she could not leave. Her name was Mariana Alcoforado. She was born in 1640 in Beja, a small sun-baked town in southern Portugal. At the age of 11, not by her own choice, she was placed inside the convent of Our Lady of the Conception. Stone walls, locked gates. A life of silence and prayer that she had not asked for and could not refuse. She was 17 years old when a French cavalry officer rode into Beja with his regiment. His name was Noël Bouton de Chamely. He was everything the convent was not. Movement, color, laughter, the world outside the gates. They met. They spoke. Over months, something grew between them that the stone walls of that convent could not stop, and then he left. As soldiers do. As the world outside always does to those locked inside. He sailed back to France. He never returned. He never wrote, but Mariana wrote 5 letters, hidden in the stones of that convent for years, written in Portuguese, to a man who was already gone, about a feeling that had no name in any language she had ever been taught. She wrote, "I think of you constantly, and everything I see makes me think of you even more. The moonlight on the floor of my cell. A sound outside the gate, the particular silence of Sunday mornings." She was not writing about him anymore. She was writing about the ache itself, the longing that outlives its object. The grief that continues long after the reason for grief has gone. Someone published those letters in Paris in 1669, without her permission, without her name. The world read them and recognized something immediately, something every reader had felt and never said aloud. And in Portugal, this feeling already had a word, saudade. Say it gently, sa-da. It is one of the most difficult words in any language to translate, not because it is complicated, but because it is too complete. It holds too much at once. Saudade is a longing for something you love that is absent. But it is more than longing. It carries within it the knowledge that what you long for may never return, or may never have existed exactly as you remember it, or exists still, but you are separated from it by time, by distance, by death, by the simple fact that nothing stays. The Portuguese writer Manuel de Melo wrote in the 17th century that saudade is a pleasure you suffer, and an ailment you enjoy, both at once. The suffering and the pleasure inseparable. Like Mano no aware from our last episode, the beauty and the ache are not two feelings. They are one. Saudade lives in Portuguese music. It lives in fado, that ancient form of singing born in the narrow streets of Lisbon, where a single voice carries the whole weight of everything that has been loved and lost and loved again. When a fado singer opens their mouth, they are not performing. They are releasing something that has been held too long inside the chest. That thing they are releasing is saudade. Now I want to take you somewhere, not to Portugal, not to the streets of Lisbon, or the stone walls of the convent of Beja, not to any country on any map. I want to take you again to the teaching that existed before any of these places had names. The Tirthankaras, the great teachers of the oldest living tradition on this earth, carried a teaching so old that no historian can find its beginning, because this teaching itself says it has no beginning. Existence has always been. No creator, no first moment, only the river always flowing with no source and no end, and within this beginningless infinite, authorless existence, the Tirthankaras named him, that sits directly beneath its word Saudade. They called it Viyoga, separation from what the soul loves, the particular suffering that arises not from violence or pain, but from distance, from the feeling of being cut off from something that once felt like home. But the Tirthankara teaching does not stop at naming the pain. It goes much further. It asks, why does the soul long so deeply? What is underneath the longing? And the answer, given across infinite ages, by teachers who had no connection to Portugal, no knowledge of Mariana Alcoforado, no map that showed the Atlantic Ocean, is breathtaking in its precision. The soul longs because it remembers. Not a person, not a place, not a specific summer or specific face. The soul longs because somewhere beneath every feeling of Saudade, it is remembering its own nature, its own original freedom, the state of pure awareness, pure stillness, pure being, that it carries within itself and has forgotten. The Tirthankaras called this original nature Shuddhatma, the pure soul, the self in its most complete form, before the weight of experience, before the accumulation of lifetimes, before everything that has been attached to it and mistaken for it. Saudade, in the Tirthankara understanding, is not really about a person who left. It is not really about a place you cannot return to. It is the soul's deepest signal. A homesickness so old it predates every home you have ever lived in. You are not missing someone. You are missing yourself. Mariana Alcoforado wrote 5 letters inside a stone convent in Portugal in the 17th century. And without knowing it, without any access to any Tirthankara teaching, any text from the ancient earth, she was writing about exactly this. She had confused the soldier for the feeling. She had aimed her longing at a man who was already on a ship heading home. But the longing itself, that was older than him. That was older than the convent. That was older than Portugal. She was not missing him. She was missing herself. And here is the Tirthankara teaching's most radical gift. That longing, that Saudade, is not a wound. It is a compass. Every time you feel it, that ache with no address, that grief without a reason, that missing something you cannot name. The Tirthankara teaching says, good, you are close. The longing is pointing somewhere real. Follow it inward, not outward. The home it is pointing to is already inside you. This is Tirthankaras, the inner self, the teaching that what every soul is searching for, in every face, every place, every song that breaks the heart open, is not outside, has never been outside. One woman locked in a convent in 17th century Portugal. One teaching carried by the Tirthankaras across infinite time, both arriving at the same truth. The longing is real, the longing is ancient, and the longing, if you follow it all the way, leads home. This is what language of Tis is built for. Every week, one ancient word, one person who lived it so deeply they gave it to the world, and always, its oldest root, in the teaching of the Tirthankaras, the teaching that has no beginning, that belongs to no single country, that was flowing through this existence long before any of us arrived, and will continue flowing long after every civilization we know has dissolved into the next one. Next week, a word from Wales. A people of gray skies and ancient mountains and songs so old nobody remembers who wrote them first. A feeling the Welsh carved into a single word, for a homesickness so deep it has no address on any map. They called it Hiraeth. And the Tirthankara teaching has known this place. The place Hiraeth points to, since before Wales had a name. Until then, Saudade, that ache with no address, follow it inward. The home it is looking for has been waiting inside you longer than you know. Mariana Alcoforado wrote 5 letters to a man who never came back, but the letters were never really for him. They were always for you.